Making sourdough bread holds more than enough challenges. We discovered some that I'd been struggling with in last week's video. With all the seemingly conflicting advice online, it would be splendid if there were 6 sourdough rules for us to live by to increase our chance of success. Wouldn't it? Yes, roll it! Hey home bakers, some of the things we're about to talk about you've heard me say before. Some of them are true mantras that I live by and maybe you already do too. And some of them might seem new. And anything we try to learn to do, certainly the beginning, there are practicalities and technicalities that need to be spoken about. But at times they come all at once and they can be really hard to remember. I call these parts particulars, little things. Like when a guitar teacher might say, make sure you put your thumb on the back of the guitar neck. It might seem a little bit tricky now, but you'll get it in time. And hold your pick like this, not like that. I know it's harder, but it will help you out. Oh, and you've dropped your shoulders now, so just sit up properly with, see? When all we really want to do is just play, to act spontaneously. I'm not talking about by definition of occurring as a result of sudden impulse or inclination without premeditation. I'm talking about the second definition that Google offers up, with an open, natural and uninhibited manner. It's the flow of happenings, organic, unthinking performance, like the way Jimi Hendrix probably wasn't thinking about where to put his thumb. He just played. Our equivalent as home bakers, and stay with me, is to just do. Just make the bread and effortlessly adapt to any challenges that might present themselves along the way. Things about like temperature and environment and the things we spoke about last week. To do that is our pinnacle. It's our peak. It is our summit, right? We have to remove our focus from the particulars, from where you put your thumb, and instead just start listening to the music. Have I gone too far with this? Sometimes though, it may be hard to hear with all the shouting and squabbling and arguing from the infinite texts and voices online. It is the danger to get hung up on those small things, hung up on those practicalities and allow them to hold us back on our journey up there. I'd like to invite you to shift your focus away from those small things and instead let's talk about 6 sourdough rules that I live by to help me on my way to the summit of spontaneity. And yeah, I know it's a YouTube cliche to say the last one's the best, so make sure you stay to the end. But come on, the last one is the best, so make sure you stay to the end. It don't make no difference to me. It's just, you don't want to miss it. I hear this a lot. I do my sourdough like this though. Is it wrong? It's fascinating to me, the idea that you might think that you're doing it wrong, almost like there's a specific way that I like to do it and every other way is wrong. What? I bake my sourdough in a tray. Is that wrong? I do my first mix in the mixer because it's easy for me. Is that wrong? I like to bake my bread on the same day in the evening because that's what works for me. Am I doing it wrong? I always answer this question with a question. Am I doing it wrong is answered with, how's the bread? Do you like it? And if the answer is yes, then no, you're not doing it wrong. And so the first rule here doesn't become, am I doing it wrong? It becomes, judge your bread by your own standards. How is the bread? Great. Did you enjoy making it? Yes. Well, then you're smashing it then, aren't you? That is the point. There is no wrong. There'll be other times I'll have people in class saying, oh yeah, your way's good, but I've changed it and do it my way because that's what works for me and I like it. Great. Good for you. Nice one. I'm happy for you. You found it. And this is something we can all learn from. Let your bread be as individual as you. There is no wrong if you found a value in the process and in the product. If there's no value in the product, if the product was an error, I bet there's value in the process if you looked hard enough for it. And this will become more clear as we get into number 4, 5, and 6 of this video. My mum started making sourdough earlier this year. Something about it just drew her to it. I don't know. She rang me up saying, oh, I'm going to make sourdough, but I don't really need all the stuff, do I? Like the basket and the stone? No, you don't need the stuff, but the stuff is there for a reason. There is a reason why bakers choose to prove their bread in Banneton baskets, and there's a reason why they bake them on a stone-lined oven base. because it works to give the best results. That's why these things exist. They have evolved with bread, fit for its purpose to make things work. It's not the cream faux leather interior of an unnecessarily pointy sports car. It's the gear stick, yeah? You can do it without it, but you're probably going to have a tricky time and an unsatisfactory result. There is value in stuff, and I know there'll be somebody in the comments box being like, I ain't got any of that stuff, and I'll make sourdough and it comes out amazing. Good for you. I'm happy for you. But for the rest of us, and for those certainly the ones starting our journeys, there is value in stuff. Get a few bits and bobs to help you sidestep many potential issues, if you can afford it, to make the process and the product more affordable and enjoyable. There are plenty of variables with sourdough that we have the power to tweak should we want to. Things like changing the type of flour that you're using, putting a little bit extra water in from last time, when and if you choose to do the stretch and folds, how tight to shape stuff up. You might want to stitch them up. See people stitching up? That's pretty wicked, isn't it? And then there are variables outside our control, like the temperature and the humidity of the room on the day that we are here to adapt to. When you are learning and beginning to feel the need and want to experiment and change things, change them, but only change one small thing at a time. Just one thing, and then you'll know the cause of the change that you see in the product, in the final bread. Sometimes it can be enough of a change to repeat the exact same recipe on a day when the temperature is different. Just imagine what you'd learn about room temperature by performing exactly the same actions when that uncontrollable variable has changed. Now imagine if you changed out the flour on the same day. Then what would be the cause of the changing characteristics of the final bread? If you change one small thing at a time, imagine just what you would learn when compiling your observations of the final bread. You've heard me talking about taking notes before. That's why I changed the title of this rule to compile observations, because notes are way more than scribbles on a page. Notes are your power. Notes are your knowledge. Notes are your history. Notes are history. Without notes, there is no history. Wow. Before we uncover the power of notes, here's a practical list of the things that you might want to write down. Your ingredients and quantities, the temperature of the room on the day, how your starter was when you fed it, what did it look like, how much it had puffed by the time you made the dough, what it smelt like, what time you started, at what intervals you performed your stretches and folds if you indeed did so, what the dough felt like at those stages, how many folds you made and why, how you did the final shape, what time you popped it in the fridge if you did, and what temperature is that running at, what time you got it out and what did it look like and feel like then, did it spread in the oven, did it bloom majestically, what was the crust like, the crumb texture, the structure, what did it taste like, did you like it and why? All this might seem a little bit much, but don't be put off. You might feel like you haven't got time for it, but this is the process. This is it. Don't whiz through it. Don't skip the last bit so you can go and do something else, because it'll be really annoying for you to come back and not know what that last loaf tasted like. Get in deep and squeeze out every drop of the experience for what it's worth. Otherwise, what's the point in doing it? If you rush through it without taking notes and observations, you are leaving the vast majority of your knowledge and power on the table. Why would you do that? By pausing every once in a while to neatly compose your scribbles on the page of a diary is to exercise your mind and supercharge your bread making powers. Go deep here, and the next time when you uncover the thoroughly written observations of the past you'll get it. You'll be all like, hey, nice one, me. Let's do it again and see what we can uncover this time in pursuit of one single purpose. Quick couch cutaway. 3 things to tell you about. One thing, Sourdough September sale is now on in the Bake with Jack online shop. You can get sourdough bundles for 20% off, which is a pretty hefty discount and will last from now until the end of September 2022. Secondly, signed copies of my book, for those of you asking, Bread Every Day, are back in stock in the shop, hopefully by the time you see this video. And thirdly, we're going to do another recipe. At the end of Sourdough September series, we're going to do a wholemeal sourdough bread recipe. The first sourdough bread recipe we've done on here for the last 100 videos or something daft. Click subscribe if you want to stick around, and back to me over there. The purpose of your process might seem like It's bread, like it's that wicked crunchy slice of homemade sourdough toast. And it is in parts, but the practice, repetition, and note-taking is here to serve a higher purpose, which is to build understanding. Building understanding is why I've been here to help you over the past 6 years. I've said it since day one. Building understanding is where your true power lies. And I'm talking about every aspect, like understanding your starter, how it performs at different parts of the year and stuff like that. Understanding your oven. Has it got any hot spots? How well truly does it keep the steam inside? This is where your observations truly come into your own, and this is where you reach the summit of Spontaneity Mountain. You level your expectations with an understanding of your dough and the understanding of the nuances of the oven you're going to bake it in. I can't do it for you. You can develop the spontaneous skill to be able to get the best out of it, the best out of your starter, the best out of your dough, the best out of your oven. Understanding removes frustration and in its place leaves a more confident you. A you that never existed before. A you that made thorough notes on a page through observation, but only if you commit yourself. Here's the bit that nobody wants to hear about, and don't click away yet. Now I know it's tempting. Now that you know what number 6 is, yeah, got number 6. See ya. Stay strong, because I want to tell you a story. One time I was on TV talking to Ronan Keating from Boyzone. I know. I'm a big deal now. What can I say? He said to me, "Hey Jack, I made sourdough one time and..." I can't do the accent, apologies. He said, "Hey Jack, I made sourdough one time during lockdown and it was a flop. It failed. It was a disaster. It went all flat and gross. What did I do wrong?" That particular show on national TV was live to the nation. I get 8 minutes to answer questions like that, and I'm supposed to bat them away like a serve in tennis. Like a tennis serve. Huh? I had to answer the question like returning a serve in a tennis match. Impossible. There could have been 100 different possibilities that rendered Ronan's sourdough dreams redundant. Where would I possibly begin? But really, there was only one piece of advice I could have given that would have been of any importance. I fluffed around the answer and eventually blurted out something like, "Try again. Give it another go." Needless to say, he wasn't particularly impressed with that response. He expected me to fix the problem, producing a carefully constructed sentence, immaculately pinpointing the one thing to change next time. The true problem was, he did it once and he gave up. He did it one time, expecting great results, didn't get them, and then he didn't do it again. Had I more time, I would have said, "Look, Ronan, life is a roller coaster. You just got to ride it." Sorry, but probably nobody got that anyway. So commit yourself in your head to doing sourdough 5 times if you're a beginner, or maybe even 10 times. If you commit to doing it once and you fail that one time, that's a 100% failure rate. But if you commit to trying it 10 times and you fail once, that's 10% failure rate. You've still got 9 more chances. Life is long. Don't try it once and give up. You might get it on the 3rd time or the 5th time or maybe even the 9th time. Let's make that rule up right now. Commit to making sourdough 10 times, and somewhere down the line, following these rules, you'll observe some kind of improvement, some kind of change to keep you going on your way. Actually, let's make it easier. Commit to 10 terrible times. Commit to 10 failures. You might surprise yourself. This removes the pressure, right? It removes the frustration of not getting it right. If you commit to 10 failures, it removes the disappointment of failing, because that's what you're aiming for anyway. 10 failures and 10 observations. If you do it once a week, that's 10 weeks out of your really quite long life. In fact, it's not 10 weeks out of your life. You don't spend 10 weeks out of your long life to do it. It's 10 weeks of embellishing, of garnishing, complementing your very long life. Isn't it? Like I always seem to find myself saying, time passes anyway. You either do it or you don't do it. But if you do choose to do it, then observe it, enjoy it, judge it by your own standards. Get a few pieces of kit to help you out. Squeeze every last drop of value out of it and it will serve you for many years to come. Thank you for being here. Thank you all patrons for your unwavering support. Thank you, everybody who dropped a super thanks recently. That's really generous of you too. Thank you for eagerly anticipating Sourdough September every year, even though sometimes I feel like I fall short, and then being grateful for it anyway. Thanks for simply being here, and good luck. Have fun. Go and make that sourdough bread. Smash it! See ya.